Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we got to the heart of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm the intern, Jerry Porter.
And today we're going to discuss minute 116, which is a credits minute. And it begins with prop store man Tommy Bacon and ends with aerial unit second director Kevin Donnelly.
Before we get into the end credits of minute 116, I have a very important announcement to make that I would like to share with you guys and with all of our listeners.
Okay.
Recently, I've been over the past a month or so, I've been showing my son all the Indiana Jones movies. We've only watched the first three. We watched Raiders, Temple. You know how it goes: Raiders, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade. And I realized after watching Temple of Doom that I like Temple of Doom. I'm back.
Awesome.
I've been a crank lately. I've been really fed up with this whole stupid minute-by-minute thing and picking this movie apart and trying to keep it holding water when it's not possible. But when you watch the movie, as I suspected, I actually enjoy it quite a good deal. And so I was relieved to find that out.
I too. I was worried. You were broken after last week.
Yeah, just in time for the end credits. I like the movie again.
All you needed was like a weekend.
Yeah.
Just,
I needed to see through the eyes of a child.
Pete, you had a I did a strange thing. I listened to our podcast.
Whoa.
And you had a good point where you said, look, because we're getting all down in the mud and the quicksand about this. And Tommy, I was really enjoying the fact that you're having a hard time and we're a crank. But Pete, you said, hey, listen, when you watch the movie the way you would naturally and organically and not under this stupid 1 minute at a time thing.
Right.
Like the movie works and it's enjoyable, and the roller coaster ride, as you said, if you went over a roller coaster, if you're on a roller coaster going 2 miles an hour, it would be really stupid. So I thought that was a great comment. You get lost in this whole minute by minute thing.
You can. I mean, I still think
I
still think most of it even holds up then, and I still think it's just as fun. But it's definitely a different experience when you watch it in real time, and you definitely get what I think they intended you to see when you watch the movie, which you don't this way.
What I've learned about you, Pete. Now we've concluded 2 of these movies. We're halfway through this Indiana Jones Minute podcast, and Raiders, everything seemed normal. And everything was fine, but this Temple of Doom thing, I said, Pete's nuts. Like, you're a little nuts. Like, you like that scene where the mine trolley goes off the track, and we're all sitting there, and Tommy, you said, listen, I mean, gravity-wise, that just wouldn't work. They should have rocketed off. And I'm like, that's perfect. Like, he should have fallen into the lava because you're full of all the time with this, like, your conspiracies. This is a great movie. I love the fact that Willie screamed 87 times. I find that charming. I think that's what, and last week Tom was like, yeah, this is what's so, and you're like, well, see, all the things that you dislike about the movie, Tom, are things that I find delightful.
The only time I really thought Pete had gone off the rails was when he was just glowing about the last shot at the end of the rope thing where Indy comes up with the one stone. I was like, really? Perfect? What? Okay, I mean, all right.
I think I said spectacular, not
spectacular,
perfect.
Yeah.
I stand by that.
All right. God love you.
Well, I am honored that you said nuts and not crazy. So thank you for that.
Yeah, see? Well, you guys are still friends. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess I'd just call it, you have sort of an eccentric or quirky worldview.
Perhaps, but I do appreciate, I believe David from our Listeners Crusade posted a poll recently asking where people came down on this movie. And apparently most of our listenership is also nuts. So
yeah.
I do appreciate that. People seem to really, truly love this movie.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's easier to listen to the movie being discussed minute by minute when you're not actually watching it minute by minute. If like you can just keep the movie sort of pure in your head while hearing it discussed.
Well, I know Eric watches it every minute. I think he watches every minute. Every day,
that's
so
right.
I'd be curious what he thinks about that.
Yeah.
Well, everybody check the Listeners Crusade on Facebook and see what people say.
Share your views.
And we get some credit names here. We get in London, in the second unit, we get Dolly Grip Jim Kane.
Oh yeah.
I like just 1 O short of a podcast legend.
Yeah. I noticed that too.
I like my favorite name for minute 116 was the master carpenter Anthony Yude. And that's I like it because it just sounds like an incomplete sentence.
Anthony Yude.
Exactly, and it kind of drives you nuts every time you hear your complete name, Anthony Yude.
Well, my favorite name, and I now I want to call Tom this, is prop store man Tommy Bacon.
Tommy Bacon is great.
Yeah, Tommy making the bacon. Yeah.
And you know what? I can attest to this. You lived the entire 1990s being Tommy Bacon.
Yeah.
You loved bacon in the 90s.
I still love bacon.
Yeah, but you probably don't eat it as much. Well, you have a kid now. You can't eat bacon.
You know what's weird? He doesn't like regular bacon. He likes turkey bacon. I don't know what to do.
Wow. Send him back.
Really? Yeah. It's a heartbreak. Oh, but speaking of Tommies, I'll get to my self-serving Tom list. I'm always looking for Toms, Jodies, and Sams in the end credits. We still have no Sams and no Jodies, but we do have 3 Toms or Tommies this in minute 116. We have the aforementioned Tommy Bacon. We have rigging gaffer Tommy Brown, which of course is also a Nashville reference. There's a character Tommy Brown in the movie Nashville. Where you going, Tommy Brown? And standby rigger Tom Parker, Colonel Tom Parker. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I love what you call it, your self-serving.
Well, yeah. Oh, I'm just going to scan the thing for my name. It's a little more charming when I try to bring my family into it, too, but it's not working out this time. I know Sam's or Joey's.
Were you guys expecting there to be a line that says, Indian unit, psych?
Yeah. It'd be like, Francis Cobblepot or something. That's like one name. It's like one totally Anglican dude.
Yeah. Literally Anglican. He's Pat Roach's advisor.
It's like Kenneth No.
We do get a big name, though.
We do.
Art director Joe Johnston.
Yeah. He's our hero.
Went on to do The Rocketeer, which you can listen to Jim O'Kane. Also just mentioned it with The Rocketeer Minute. He did October Sky, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah. Big time guy.
He did the first Captain America.
Oh, yeah.
Some people's favorite of the Marvel films.
Wow.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
There was something else that did I hear that he was in the running for maybe something else? I forget what. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you did. And I don't remember what it was.
God bless him.
And God bless Glenn Randall, who's back, who was the stunt coordinator we were talking about, who also played Boba Fett in Sail Barge.
Yeah.
That would be a tough role because, I mean, you're Boba Fett.
Sort of.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, this isn't. Yeah, you're like.
Well, that's because there are 20 people who've been Boba Fett. You're like, there are 20 guys that can say, I was Boba Fett.
It's like saying you're Jason Voorhees.
And you're like, but you're the Boba. You're also the Boba Fett that like has this ignominious death. That's just like, meh.
Yeah.
So is he the guy with like the mustache and the glasses? There's like that shot from Return of the Jedi of Boba Fett without his helmet on.
Was that him? That might have been another guy. That might have been the guy in the palace.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, so it's a different guy like on the sail barge?
I think so. I think he was a couple different guys even in that movie.
Are you telling me that Boba Fett has a mustache?
It's canon.
Oh, yeah.
It's there on screen.
We'll have to put that on the Listeners Crusade or somebody does. That's a great picture.
I did not think that this could get any worse.
How would you not think Boba Fett has a mustache?
Yeah.
Like, it's the 80s. How would you think that Boba Fett would not have a mustache?
Oh, my gosh. I feel like, what if I don't survive?
Yeah.
I feel like asking.
Well, talking about surviving, we get Raft camera mounts by Art Vitarelli. And
okay.
I love this. This is one of those super, super specialized areas of expertise. He has 3 credits on IMDb.
Are they all Raft related?
Yeah, he did the Raft camera mounts in this movie. He did a TV movie called Whitewater Rebels. And he did an ABC Teddy Ruxpin special called Trouble River.
Oh my gosh.
Like all this guy does is rafts.
How much time is between those things? Like,
I think
hope he
they
has a
were
day
actually
job.
that's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Miracle.
Yeah, if you wanted a raft in the 80s though, Art was your man.
Yeah. Get me Art.
Yeah, enough time to be like an English teacher. I mean, who happens to, who moonlights at a Raft camera specialist.
Yeah.
Yep. And we get assistant director Carlos Gil is back from Raiders, and he also is about to go on to do Last Crusade.
Oh, cool.
And he did stuff in Macau and Sri Lanka. And
It's a
speaking of Sri
family
Lanka,
affair.
it's interesting. There are a lot of people in Sri Lanka, in the Sri Lanka crew, with the last names Silva and Pereira. And one thing is I learned that was interesting when we were there earlier this year is that a lot of people still have the Portuguese last names, even though the Portuguese haven't been there since the 1600s.
Oh, weird.
So
I'm not surprised to hear that, just because, I mean, like the Philippines has a lot of Spanish names, right?
yeah.
Yeah. If you I listened to that whole great courses on the age of exploration. I mean, it's ridiculous. They just sailed everywhere and then everybody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And the British came along a little bit later, but
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all to hear that in Sri Lanka they still have the Portuguese names.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, that they took and some of the later ones didn't. But yeah,
I guess you're right.
They had some
You're
staying
right.
power.
Yeah.
I do. And on the topic of Sri Lanka, I do have to say, I came into this movie, it definitely was my third favorite. And it was a distant third. And I think going to Sri Lanka actually for me made a big difference because suddenly I could contextualize a lot of this stuff. That one thing a lot of people say about this movie is it feels very foreign as far, the mythology is something we're not used to.
Yeah.
And a lot of it are things, as Westerners, we tend not to identify with culturally so much. And I don't know, maybe that was part of what pushed me into nuttiness.
I'm dying to know. I think you're really going to like Last Crusade, Pete. I don't know why I think
love
that,
Last
but-
Crusade.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
watched it
Yeah.
a couple times recently. I
That,
love
you know what?
Yeah.
That's what I'm fascinated about. I watched it again. I remembered liking it, and then I watched it again recently with my son, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is a good movie." And then I'm like, "Oh wait, how am I going to hate this movie after like minute 1:05 or something? I'm probably
I
going
know
to
how
be really
you
annoyed
hate
and furious."
I know several ways you're going to hate it.
Yeah, I think
We'll get there.
Too.
But you know what? You'll find them all charming and delightful.
Yeah, maybe.
I go nuts.
Maybe. And I definitely, there are several ways that Jerry's just going to have a meltdown during that movie, I think.
I had a little note I wanted to discuss. There is a boom operator named Gary Weir.
Oh,
And I just want to let everybody know that my name is spelled Gerry, and it's pronounced Jerry.
yeah.
Sometimes you'll also find the name Jerry spelled Jerry, or if a female pronunciation is like Geri. I get called Gary all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
You've been called Gerald.
I've been called Gerald
Yeah.
instead of Gerald. I get called Gary like maybe twice a day, and I don't understand it. If anything,
Yeah.
call me Gurry.
Right.
If you're going to read my name phonetically that way, call me Gurry.
I like that because you're like a cute teddy bear. You're like, "Grrrr."
Gurry.
Why you so glum, Gurry?
Gary has one spelling. This is just sort of like a public service announcement, Gary is Gary.
Yeah.
The end.
There you
That's
go.
Gary.
The more
And
you
while,
know.
while you're listening to Gary, check him out on Harry Potter Minute and Ferris Bueller Minute. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
Gary in our
That's
life.
the Gary.
Yeah.
That's the Gary. Sure, that's Gary. Yeah. Nobody's calling him Jerry.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
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 And while we're on the subject, my wife would like you to know that just because someone is named Jody, it doesn't mean they spell it with an I. It's very often spelled with a Y. Jody.
And Christy is not always spelled with an IE.
That's true.
Oh, not
As
at
in
all.
Professor
Yeah.
Christy Porter with a Y.
Yeah.
People
with
just
a
keep
Y.
jumping to conclusions about spelling and pronunciation, and
Yeah.
you're taking the human race down with you when you do that.
But I mean, nobody's calling her Christy
I am from
or
now on.
or Tristy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Tristy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Oh my God.
I didn't like my name growing up, but one of the benefits is when it got mispronounced, it was intentionally mispronounced.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what's nice is the whole second half of your life, you love your name now, Admiral Mummert.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm very thankful for my name, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never complain again.
Yeah.
About anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we one of the things we like to do in the credits is to ask occasional theoretical questions. And we had a couple we were considering for this minute of Temple of Doom. And Jerry, you came up with one I really liked.
Oh, yeah, what scene do you wish was not deleted from the movie? And then
We can't just say all of them, right? Because we kind of agreed as we were going through, like, oh, that would have helped. That would have been great.
yeah. We can't say all of them. I think that's what makes the question a little more challenging.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what scene do we wish was deleted? Hey, Tommy, as an editor, is it what scene do we wish was deleted, or what scene do we wish were
It's
deleted?
were, yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't, I don't know why it's were,
damn
but it's
it.
were. It's subjunctive.
Yeah.
It's what scene do we wish were deleted?
Well, I know for me it's a no-brainer.
Okay.
And that's I really wish they had kept in Willie running back up into the palace and trying to get help, and then
Yeah.
Indy coming in and betraying her. I think that would have added a lot to the gravity of the movie.
I almost picked that as mine. Like, that's a close second. Although, you know what? I feel like the way it actually was supposed to happen, like the way you just described it, I think is closer to like what was in like the screenplays and things.
Mm-hmm.
But like the way I think Paul Sullivan described it on the show sounded even a little cooler. Like, it didn't have Indy popping up and stuff. It was more like Chatterlaw was just like, oh yeah, you need help? Gotcha. Like, he kind of revealed that he was a bad guy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been awesome. But since we mentioned it, I keep going back to the scene right after the dinner where Blumbird and Indy are commiserating. They're like, what's up with all these vegetarians eating eyeballs and stuff? Like, what's going on? Make sure, like maybe cut out like the Shorty and Maharaja fisticuffs and things. That sounds a little weird, maybe, like with the glowy eyes and stuff. But just just planting that seed of like, wait, what's going on? Like, this dinner's ridiculous. Like, it would absolve the movie of being like kind of, insensitive, racist weirdo-ness with the food and everything. But then it would also like sort of feed the plot a little bit and be like, oh, something weird's going on in this palace. This palace is already weird and we haven't even found anything, diabolical yet.
Yeah, that's good.
That is good. I'm trying to think. What were can I get a cheat sheet of deleted scenes? There was that one. There was the one with Willie.
There was Indy showing the Maharaja his whip.
Yeah.
There was the guy burning with lava. There were the kids escaping over the lava chasm on the board.
yeah.
There's a really early one, which I actually loved, where Shorty asks where Wuhan is.
Oh, right.
And that's why they have like the right number of tickets and everything, because Wuhan was going to go with them. And,
Right.
And Indy sort of breaks the news to Shorty that Wuhan's not going with him.
Yeah, and there's before that there's one of Shorty actually in Club Obi-Wan, looking around a table leg or something.
You know what? That's a no-brainer for me. As much as I would have liked to have seen the one with Willie running back and sort of shoring up that type of, that like, where'd Willie go? And what's going on? I have to pick the guy who was on fire and where Short Round learns that fire will knock you out of the Khaled sleep, because that's one of my biggest problems with the Temple of Doom is just that we're just supposed to believe that like Short Round, none of it, he burns Indy with the torch and Indy quote wakes up and you're like, why would he do that? It's like the biggest
Indy, I love you.
Yeah, Indy, I love you.
Did it bother you in Raiders that we didn't get Close Your Eyes? I can't remember.
Absolutely nothing bothered me in Raiders.
That's the right answer. But no, this specific thing didn't bother me until we started talking about it on this show. Like, it never seemed weird to me that he did that. Like, I don't know if I chalked it up to like, oh, it's just like he's desperate and he tried something and it was lucky or what. But it never seemed weird to me.
There's a huge difference. In Raiders, I always just attributed Indy's decision at the end to shut his eyes and to don't look at it like he actually came to it. Like he was thinking, what? Like he's sitting there on the post. He's got a little bit of time to think, and he's like, you know what? No one here is humble. You know, this is a powerful. This is Yahweh after all.
Yeah.
It's like I know there's one thing. We're all gathered here to stare at the ark being opened, and like he has a sense of doom or something. And he goes, you know what? I'm gonna, this is a third and long here, but I think we might make this. I'm not gonna watch the ark being opened. Something seems wrong about this.
And you see him sort of reaching for something. He's kind of like, I should carry the two.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to figure something out, and then he kind of comes up with that.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of like, no matter what happens, don't look at it. And you're like, okay, maybe that's a little Yahweh alley-oop. Or maybe you kind of attribute it to like, well, maybe, maybe he's realizing, like he there's a transformation within him that he's like, you know what, I'm clawing for this. All I want to do is see the Ark of the Covenant opened. And now it's like maybe, my own sort of, I don't know, avarice towards that is going to be is going to be everybody's downfall. I have nothing like that for this shorty.
Right.
Yeah.
Indy, I love you. Burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not talking about Indy. We're talking about short round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really bothers me.
Well, okay, then taking it the other direction, what scene would you delete to make it a better movie?
Indy, I love you. Burn.
I feel like, I don't know if it's one scene, but like there's so many like little Willy things you could trim, and then she would still come out as like a much more relatable, likable character.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of little, just like, is there a phone call? I gotta call my agent. You're like, what?
Or maybe that at the elephant scene.
Yeah.
I think I might trim that very ending. I think maybe because I think it ended on such a high note with him coming off of the cliff.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like they could have had something in Mayapur Village, but that's the one part of the movie that doesn't quite resonate with me as much.
Yeah, it feels totally like, next time on Indiana Jones.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? You guys are all forgetting something. There's something enormous.
Okay.
And the scene serves no purpose at all. And I think we're just too far removed from it. It's the campfire scene.
Yeah.
That does give us a little bit of an insight into Shorty and Indy's relationship, though.
I like that part of it. I like them playing cards and being pissed at each other.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
I love that too. But it's like what we gain for Indy and Shorty playing cards. Think of how much we lost.
Yeah.
It's not even like a Pyrrhic victory. It's like we just lost.
Right.
On the plus side, we got a very nice few episodes with Mr. John Brugan out of it, though, which
That's
I do
true.
really appreciate.
It's not just
absolutely.
the movie; it's also the show. You gotta think of it that way.
There was everything. Everything in that campfire scene was bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could does deleting or completely rewriting, are those two different things? Like the whole indie pseudo interrogation of Chatter Lal at dinner. That's like a giant drag.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out right.
That's weird.
I still I can't let this one go. If Chatter Lal and Mola Ram had either been the same guy or they'd both been at dinner, I feel like that could have taken it in such a different direction.
Totally.
Or if they'd at least closed the thread on Wheezy Jefferson bringing that parchment.
Yeah.
Like he did, like if somehow there was some archaeology where he had to puzzle out, I got to find out where the treasure is, or I got to find out.
Instead of finding the identical
something.
thing on a wall and then just reading that too.
Yeah, instead of just being stuff happening to him, if he's actually involved in figuring this out.
Well, that's a great question. What scene would you just nip and tuck then and rewrite? If you could only choose one, or what, I don't know, plot point or theme.
I would like to somehow work out the whole, maybe back at the beginning of Mayapur Village, just figure out how to not just handle the which is more important, the rocks or the kids, like going on and on about the rocks, and by the way, we lost our kids.
Yeah.
But then also like having the audience leave that scene with a sense of, this is the mission. It's not like, well, we might save some kids, we might find some rocks, we'll see what happens, we'll see how it pans out. Like what is he leaving there to do? Is he trying to find kids? Is he trying to find rocks? It's all very muddled, and I wish it wasn't muddled. Because it affects everything that comes after it.
Yeah.
Well, so where would that put you, Pete?
As far as what I would rewrite.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
I'm
Nip and
still
Tuck.
with. I would change. I would either make Chatterlal a better character, a character that has a beginning and an end, or make Molarama a character that has a beginning and an end, and not have two half-finished characters that take over from each other. I feel like the movie could have been absolutely brilliant if they had, utilized what they had going already with Chatterlal.
Well, I mean, we're sitting here watching credits, and Chatterlal's still alive, right?
Yeah, well, I think
I
he
mean,
is.
There's
Chatterlal's
no reason to think
alive.
that he's dead.
Right.
Yeah, there's no reason to think that he's dead.
So
Right.
maybe the next adventure. Tom, you brought this up last week, and Paul Sullivan mentioned it on Facebook too, where you said at the end of the novelization, it said, and they had many other adventures on the way to Delhi.
Yeah.
And maybe I had to fight Chatterlal on the way back.
Yeah, he's hiding on their plane. Here we go again.
I guess I would agree with you, Tommy. I would do. We got to pick the objective there. Kids are rocks, and then on that, I'd put a little. You're the editor. What's that sign? The slash? I'd say
Do you mean the slash? Yeah.
the backslash.
Sure.
Fortune and glory.
Oh, right.
Yeah, just kind of. I'd have to cram those two together, like kids and rocks objective, and then like fortune and glory.
Yeah.
Like, we need to figure this out.
It could be as simple as just having a conversation about that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna go save those kids, right? Well, we'll save them if we can, but I got fortune and glory to worry about, or something. I don't know.
Right.
Address that somehow.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
Whoa.
Wait, there is something coming in.
Whoa.
It's the
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yes.
Wait, is this a boop-a-doop or a boop-a-doop or a boop-a-doop?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's just the regular.
Oh, there's nothing just regular about boop-a-doop.
That's true. This just in from Professor Christy Porter. If you made Temple of Doom today, what would it look like?
Oh, weird.
Oh, it'd be horrible. It'd have like The Rock, and it would have
I like
Vin
The
Diesel,
Rock.
and it would, yeah.
The Rock is a good guy.
I like The Rock too, but I don't want to see The Rock in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that'd be weird. Maybe we'll find out in.
But I mean, what's
2020, I don't know.
fascinating, and I
Yeah.
think this is part of your Pete. This is part of your charm and your nuts charm. is immediately you say, hey, if you made it today, you go, it'd be awful.
Yeah. Well, everything's
It wasn't
awful
even
today. We know that.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your favorite time period's like 1931.
You've been depressed since you were born.
Yeah.
It's just not the same.
Wasn't the same as when my grandparents were around.
You've been depressed since you were born. Well, and there is another little boop, boop.
Oh, are you allowed to do that?
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
She's going to have, her Western Union bill, by the way, is going to be
I know,
huge.
really. We gotta get her an email address or something.
Yeah.
It's gonna be done much more easily.
Actually is a good question. What does it say about Americans in the 1980s? The fact that this movie came out in 84,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. What did it say about America back then?
I mean, it says the same thing that a lot of things, even like as recently as probably like the late 90s or something. I assume, I wonder if part of her point is, just like the kind of, how the entire Indian culture is
Yeah.
represented, or even like, the Chinese or anything like,
Sure.
Yeah.
there's
Sure.
there's tons of like, fortune cookies and things like that. And, I know that back then, nobody was like, now wait just a minute.
Yeah.
At least, not
Sure.
the white kids like me, like sitting in the audience. We're not like, now hang on there. I
Right,
call
right.
foul. I think that's, that's the way the world was. I mean, again, it's like, you're not excusing it, but it's like, that's, it does sort of shine a light on that's
Sure.
Yeah.
where the world was at.
And it's definitely a transition period between, the time referenced in this film and today. But I mean, I guess that's obvious. It's between the time this film was set and today. But like, you still had a lot of people alive who were alive at this time, when the film was set, and who remembered what movies were like then, and who remembered what things were like then. And you had, like young kids like us who were pretty impressionable. And I think, with that mix, everything was kind of like, hey, it's fun. It's, a throwback to stuff when those people were young, and it's, kids today are going to be grossed out and they're going to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Hey.
Well, yeah.
There we go.
All right. Jerry.
3 more minutes.
Yeah.
We're gonna
actually, no, 2 more minutes.
Oh, 2 more minutes. That's right.
But yeah, maybe in the meantime, before our last 2 minutes this week, Jerry, you could tell people where they can find us and what else they can do.
Absolutely. People should come and not call me Gary at the Indiana Jones Minute Listeners Crusade on Facebook, which there's all sorts of discussion. Obviously, we completed Raiders of the Lost Ark, and we're at the very end of our second full installment here of Temple of Doom, and there's a lot of really funny, great people on the Listeners Crusade.
Yeah.
And how many of them are going to be calling you Gary today?
I hope all of them, actually.
And join us there. There's polls and good times.
Yeah, please. And just while you mentioned the people on the Listeners Crusade, thank you to all of you who've made it a lot of fun hanging out there. And you guys always have brilliant things to say and really interesting, deleted scenes or lost footage or funny jokes or whatever. It's great hanging out with everybody there.
It is.
Oh, it is. It's like I can't remember the last time I've giggled like that in my bed.
I can.
I'm going to leave both of those. Yeah, just sitting there.
I'm always like reading it in the morning or at night.
Well, yeah, I think we have the best listeners in podcast world, and
We do.
I think we have a fantastic Listeners Crusade. So thank you, everybody, for listening and for joining in. And at least for this movie, you can join us 2 more times starting tomorrow for our coverage of Temple of Doom here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
I was wondering if the stagehand, George Gibbons, was he upset by all the monkey brain stuff?
Oh, Jerry. Gary.
Listen, Pete's laughing. He is nuts.
He's insane.
Yeah, I know nuts, Jay.
He's going out with those
I'm
nuts.
crazy.